Tonight, 3 stories, 1 through line. When you can't win on policy, you change who gets to vote, how votes are counted, and you make sure the people doing the counting answer to, you guessed it, you. And all 3 are in motion simultaneously right now. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Tom's going to lead us off. Tom?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Listen, what's going on now? The Supreme Court heard arguments in a case called RNC versus Watson. Maybe you've heard about it. This is about a law that was passed in the state of Mississippi that allowed for late arriving votes during the COVID era. This is being challenged in the Supreme Court now. And the whole idea behind this, the driving force, is this phenomenon called, at least labeled by them, the blue shift. Because 44% of Democrats vote via mail-in ballots and 29% of Republicans. So what happens very commonly is that as they're counting the votes itself on election day, you will see a Republican lead. What happens as the night wears on and into the following days in many cases is that that lead begins to evaporate and turn blue. Therefore, the blue shift. Now, this becomes easy fodder for Trump and gang to basically cry foul, saying that there's buckets of ballots that are simply being delivered by trucks late, just commonly how mail-in ballots are delivered as they're collected out in the field. And as they're counted, there's some kind of fraud going on. The interesting thing is that the conservative judges, at least 2 of them, basically made some questions or made some comments that maybe would lead you to believe that they make a decision to eliminate mail-in voting. Now, the interesting thing is that Gorsuch basically is questioning the whole idea that this phenomenon known as the blue shift is dangerous because it undermines credibility of a fair election, which is very rich coming from the Republicans. Whereas Alito basically says, hey, we've got President's Day, we've got the 4th of July, we've got Memorial Day. All these are on one day. So election day is election day, alluding to an idea that, basically you open an election at 7 o'clock in the morning, you close it at 8 o'clock at night, and then you count the ballots at the end of the day, and whatever you've got, well, hey, that's your result, which is really insane. A few things to consider here. Both sides are okay with early voting. So that kind of washes out the whole voting only on election day thing. Again, this is ostensibly in favor of the Republicans because, again, they're not voting by mail. So they're okay with early voting. They're okay with the military and overseas people, which approximates about 3 million people. They're okay with their ballots arriving late. Very commonly, a military will vote the way of a Republican, or in this case, certainly the commander-in-chief, Trump. So they're okay with that, which begs the question, a vote's a vote. Why would it be okay for overseas ballots to come in late when someone here in the United States who made every effort to mail in their ballot on time to arrive to be postmarked by election day fall at the mercy of a postal service that is run currently by a Trump loyalist, but exceedingly more and more full of fault, right? So, that in and of itself is really just, an example of how these arguments shouldn't be in front of the Supreme Court in the first place.
I think you're being too kind, Tom. Like, literally, if you look at the cynicism of what they're doing and the fact that, like, there's no question they will slow down the mail. Like, and I don't really think there's a way to stop them. Like you said, there's a Trump stooge in there. They did it last time, and now they're trying to change the rule, or they're going to, it looks like, change the rule, and in a very hypocritical, contradictory fashion, allow early voting, but voting that's on time, that the system takes 5 days or whatever, and that's the cutoff. It's not like it can change 20 days into the future. And all 16 of the states that have this have you have a 5-day window for those to come in. And a lot of it's because first of all, people should know that Republicans everywhere they have power have done everything they can to eliminate all of the ballot drop boxes as that they can.
Right.
So those have become far less accessible. That usually solves the issue. Those are collected the day of the election. They're coming up with this fictitious, argument that the day of the election that's the election, dummy. It's
Mhm.
just that day.
Right.
Except we'll allow early voting. You can do that.
Right.
So it's a bogus, but they're going to do it. Yeah,
That's right.
it's already in motion.
They're going to do everything they can. I mean, this is, again, like the elimination of the drop boxes. The whole idea here is to make it more difficult for people that carry the burden of having to work, for example, unable to take time, don't have flexible schedules. Commonly, these are people that are poor, right? And many of the poor are minorities. And so this kind of goes hand in hand with vote suppression. It's been going on for a long time. But now we're basically seeing any kind of illusion of just basically masquerade ripped off. It's just out in the open right now. I think
Oh, they're going right at it. And it's only one of we're going to get it. We're going to get into this. Like we've got a whole list of things we're going to run through for you so you realize the scope of what they're trying to pull off. There is good news though, because you got to be a scared, desperate prick. That's as good a word as any, I guess. I was going to say something
yeah,
else, but we'll leave it there. But anyway, you've got to be seeing the writing on the wall to go to these efforts. And let's remind everybody I don't want to understate any of this. This is everything we're talking about tonight is unconstitutional and therefore illegal. This is not Republicans playing cute little monkey games with Democrats and both sides do it and it happens all the time. No, no, no. This is this is the coup.
yeah,
This is the big cheat that they have been lining up. And this is just method number one.
that's right.
But it is. Tom nailed it. It's voter suppression in mass. And we'll get to more of it, but this piece of it is they're only doing this because the whatever you want to call it, the straggling vote, the vote that legally right now, according to these states' laws and accepted practices and what we've done for decades and decades and decades and decades, is skewed toward Democrats. It's a way to suppress, and it's a way to, all those people have been doing it for years. It's a way to invalidate their votes because they don't necessarily care now. They don't care if they're disincented to vote. They're like, go ahead, send it. It's not going to get there on time. So this is a brazen, I'm going to say this. I'm probably being stupidly naive, but I'm going to pray that the oral arguments and the way that went and how they were signaling, which don't look good for people that
No,
like democracy. I'm going to just hope that maybe one of them either was not fully on board or changes their mind. I know it's not going to happen because this is uh, this is bad for voting, bad for democracy.
yeah,
It's cheating
yeah,
and all of those things. Yeah. It's like, get ready, strap it up
yeah.
because there's
I
more that they
mean,
have planned.
the three liberal votes are obviously there to stop this kind of thing. If you want to glean anything, any kind of optimism from this, it's been said that Kavanaugh, Barrett, and Roberts really didn't say anything at all. And if you want to if you want to sleep well at night, maybe you can hang on to by your fingernails the fact that Trump has just been bashing Roberts lately. So maybe this guy has a little bit of a soul and a shriveled heart, and perhaps he'll finally draw the line saying he's sick of Trump beating him up and he's got a pair.
Hey, like, look, the anyone who wants to say, uh, and I'm speaking about this court, not every court. I'm speaking about this court with so little regard in my mind, in my belief system. And I just want to. I said it before, but I'm going to repeat it every time they come up. This, in my opinion, this is a corrupt, if not illegitimate, court.
Mm,
Many members on the conservative side have been documented indisputably at an evidentiary level that they are corrupt. They have been caught.
yeah,
Take any other federal judge or
yeah,
any judge,
yeah,
any magistrate, anybody
yeah,
else would be subject to disbarment, ejection from the court, disciplinary action, ejection from the court, and prosecution. What Clarence Thomas did, like all the largesse from gifts and goodies and RVs and luxury vacations that each ran into the value of hundreds of thousands of dollars a clip, rides on private jets, you name it, absolutely impermissible benefits that I suspect he never reported as taxable income. So, like, we're talking about crimes, not high crimes and misdemeanors. I'm talking about statutory crimes in the United States that govern most of the judiciary, but does not magically apply to the Supreme Court. That him, Alito, Gorsuch, and others have been pulling off for decades. And these are the same billionaires that are absolutely, they are writing the legislative framework as it unfolds, giving it to the court because we bought you,
right.
and they're getting exactly what they want. And the numbers bear it out. Like, I don't have all the details. This is not what this episode is about in depth, but I had to jump in there for a second because I've been reading and listening a lot about this particular topic. But Senator Sheldon Whitehouse does a magnificent job of breaking all of that down and how badly, like how the numbers just show they are, they go 95% in the tank for the billionaires. Not talking about just Trump right now. So
Yeah, that's
anyway,
right.
that's who we're dealing with. But
That's what we're dealing with. Yeah.
Barrett and a few others have shown a little tiny inkling of some independence. So we'll see. But
Yeah.
this is blatant. I just wanted to, like, I know I'm kind of going off here, but it is egregious.
Well, it
Like,
really is. And just to kind of
period.
put, a finer point on what you're saying is that, I want to be clear. These justices, these conservative justices are not in the pocket of Trump. They're not for Trump. That's why they so easily declared the tariffs, IEPA tariffs illegal because the billionaires don't like the tariffs either. So they're fine with that. Trump is, as you said earlier, a
And they were
useful
doing
idiot.
Trump a favor because it's
They
so
really they
stupid
gave
and
him an off
nobody likes
ramp.
him.
They gave him an off ramp,
Yeah.
but he's too
People
stupid.
hate him.
Yeah.
Just
he's
like
too
every, by the way, we're going to get more into this, but just want to point out Trump is underwater and at the lowest levels imaginable
stupid.
on all of these, every single policy area that exists. He
Mhm.
is tanking. So this is why they're doing all of this, but we have to keep
Correct.
going so we cover all of the terrible fuckery that these sons of bitches are up to. I mean, so, all right, let me get back on track here. All right, we went through the conservative argument. Like, I want to hit on this again real quickly before Tom moves on and closes this out here. But I just want to talk about how stupid it is that, like, we're saying, like, if we are saying there has to be one election day, how can they be okay with early voting and not okay with the states that have already said, well, we'll wait for 5 days to get everything in? And it's not, I don't know if we have the data here. It's not that much. Like, it's not I don't know what proportion of the vote comes in the last 5 days,
I don't either, but I know that
but
you're correct. It's not a whole lot. What does come in basically is, again, I don't see what argument they may have so long as this mail is postmarked by election day. Doesn't matter if it arrives, if it's a vote cast on election day. Even so, and again, I don't really know the answer here. I think 5 days grace period is certainly sufficient because now
Yeah.
the post office doesn't necessarily just grab your envelope with the stamp and postmark it the very same day it's dropped. In some cases, it's sent to other states. So you can see where this really is a problem that compounds. And that is why they see a weakness there
They
to
do.
eliminate
It's an
mail in voting.
opening. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's an opening for manipulation and abuse.
correct.
And it is literally, let's call it what it is, it's disenfranchising citizens with the right to vote. It is violating
That's right.
many, probably millions. I just looked. Let's look at some of the data that we have here. In 2024, 29% of voters cast ballot by mail.
Right.
And they're trying, like, if they can, they're actually trying to, they've been trying to get rid of all of it.
Right.
But, here's where the Supreme Court came down. And that wasn't the argument, I think, by the Supreme Court. But regardless, it was just a slice of Democratic voters that they hoped to disqualify and disenfranchise. But anyway, so the total number of voters is 48 million votes. That's a lot of votes. 60% of voters in 2024 voted early or by mail. So, literally, a minority of the vote is happening on election day. So 40% of the vote essentially is election day.
Right.
And then, 44% Democrat vote by mail versus 26 Republican, 41% overall early and mail voting by registered Democrats, 38% Republicans, and then, more Republicans vote same day. That's their strength. So they're trying to skew everything same day, and then they hold their own on early. But yeah, it's a blatant anti-democratic, play. Does straight on.
And then at one point in time, the interesting thing is that Republicans were very pro mail in voting.
Yeah.
It just goes to show the hypocrisy. It's just whichever way we feel that we need to go, because the reality is that their policies are not popular. Well, they don't really have any policies to speak of. They can't win by an election. And this is just very evident by their actions. They're doing
Well,
everything and they're
Tom,
pulling all the levers.
you spoke the magic word and talked about hypocrisy. So I'm going to take that as a subtle hint. Does that mean you'd like me to play our clip about somebody very famous who you'll see in a minute, but we'll let you see it first, who's for this policy, who's happy with this decision, but they recently voted by mail. Should I play that?
Yeah, Mr. Sulu, take the controls.
All right. Let me see if I can get this right. First of all, let me not overpromise and underdeliver. We're gonna. Oh, look. Let's do this. All right. So, let me
Tell me about mail-in ballot elections that took place in Florida.
Oh,
And
Although you were there.
It was in Florida.
When I was going to vote mail-in ballot because I
I
couldn't be
decided
there
because it was
because they had a lot of
convenient.
different things.
You were there.
Exceptions
Donald.
for mail-in ballots. You do know that,
All right.
right?
All right. So,
Yep.
enough of that. Particular, I don't even like playing his clips because he's such a fucking moron. But what the man just did, and I, could have played another clip here, but we don't want to inundate you with clips. But this is right after he railed about mail-in ballots and mail-in voting and said it's election fraud and it should never happen, and it's the Democrats trying to steal elections. And then right I mean, like, I don't know, maybe it's dementia that he like, or whatever, but he literally,
he just makes shit up
yeah,
as he
he just
goes.
makes shit up. I should
He's
like,
not even a good liar. He just makes shit up.
no, no. A good liar would like get you for at least a second and be like, maybe he's saying something here. No, you know he's gonna like, you know he's lying. Like it's really very
he's just
easy.
lying.
But like he also, by the way, just like for any potential MAGA listeners out there, which we do get a few really salty, if not nasty comments from time to time. So hopefully you're out there, one or two of you, and maybe you should think about that. Like maybe you shouldn't believe someone who in a documented way literally lies about virtually everything. The only thing he doesn't lie about are that, like,
Yes.
if he says he hates something, well, he probably hates it. And he'll probably tell you in not direct words, but he'll probably indicate to you within 24 hours that he was previously lying, because he'll just contradict himself, whatever he feels like saying in the moment. But none of this is like, that's his way. But
I would welcome any comment from any MAGA to please explain to me how you would not tolerate someone who lies as he does at your work,
because he thinks
at your neighbor.
you're stupid. He thinks you're stupid. And by the way, here's a little message for you, MAGA. He hates you. He thinks you're scum. He sits at his golf courses and makes fun of you behind the curtain. His compadres, his little cuckold of billionaires and oligarchs, they don't even know your life. They don't care. They think that you exist to be at their service. So here's the thing. I'm not going to be nice anymore. We're in a coup. We're in the degradation, the overturning, the ripping apart, the sundering of American democracy. And I'm not going to hold anything back anymore. I'm not going to I don't play to the average. I'm not going to say the middle, but I don't play to the average. And if you're a lying, fascistic piece of shit, well, I think it's our duty now to actually say that. So and it's all of us that are going to pay the ultimate price, whether your vote's taken away, other rights are taken away, they seize permanent authoritarian power and not even that gradually, pretty fucking quickly gain complete control over every aspect of society. If you think that the technology doesn't exist, you're not even an ostrich. If you're an ostrich, you're a dumb fucking ostrich. Wake up. This shit, the ability to do this exists. They will be in everything that you read, hear, think. They will control the direction and the security on AI. So anyway, those I'm going to stop now, but those are the stakes. So I hope everybody, sees that. So, all right. So we've got, one election fuckery under the belt. Then the next little nugget of malfeasance, and I'm going to try to make this fun because these are serious topics. I'm not a professional comic. I understand that. But we've got to smile and chuckle every once in a while. So let me do my best, on very serious topics, because these things are literally, they're either robbing you blind, literally, money-wise, economy-wise, affordability-wise, or they're directly endangering you, in some cases physically, in almost all cases from a constitutional and human rights standpoint, every minority and subgroup, if you're not a white nationalist, MAGA slobbering goon, you're in the crosshairs. We are all in the crosshairs. So, segment 2, our next little section here, we're going to talk about Iran, but we're going to look at it more, kind of from a 10,000 foot view, but with some details underneath it in terms of what's really happening. So there's a question, and people are rightly bringing this up, that the United States is aiding and abetting Iran, who we are at war with. And let me remind everybody, as we watch our oddly slurring and incoherent, nasty, stinky, apparently he shits his pants near people on a regular basis. So apparently it's
incontinence.
Fecal Dawn. There we go. That was brilliant. Now we got a new name. Fecal Dawn, the president who shot his pants in public and made people run away from him and make funny faces. So this man, and this is his war. This is Donnie's war. Yes, aided and abetted by the MAGA minions, no doubt. They have no spine and they're enabling him. But this war, it's not even like, again, I usually don't like hyperbole, 1,000%. No, fucking 1,000%, right? But this is more than 100% Donald Trump's war, right? This is fully something that he had to do. Even trust me, I don't like anybody in his administration. I don't trust anybody really until I'm proven otherwise in his military chain. I don't trust any of them. But they told him, we know through sources, the public knows, I'm not saying we broke the news, but we're aware, there's been a lot of reporting on the fact that they told him not to do this. They told him that it was a bad idea. They said, we've run, thousands of simulations and, looked at this. And so none of what's happened so far is actually a surprise. They knew that Iran would interdict the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
They knew that Iran was almost certain to lash out at other U.S.-aligned interests in the Middle East, and most of them, other than, the sort of lawless parts of the Middle East, or the ones that are held by proxies of Iran, are aligned with the United States. So everybody. So that's kind of where we're going. And the fact that they lifted the sanctions on somebody that we're at war with for one reason and one reason only. And by the way, it's not going to work. But they think, or they hope, that it will keep a lid on oil prices, which is just, let me tell you, not in my view, not in my opinion, is that going to happen. How can you, like, this means, I think, Tom, you were saying that this brings something like, I don't know, like some big number, like, I don't know what it is, probably 12 billion, I think I saw, but a huge chunk of money to Iran so they can continue to, look, I'm against the war. I think it was a strategically insane, illegal, unconstitutional, geopolitically moronic, economically suicidal move. But
that would be treasonous. You could make the argument that it would be treasonous.
It seems treasonous.
How can you be trying to destroy a country and then basically allow them to make commerce in the lifeline of their revenue stream? Because this guy is desperate. I would say that, to lay a foundation for an argument that presidents really don't have much control over the price of oil. Now, they always get blamed for it, right? Sometimes it costs them their job. But truly...
But now they do.
In the exception...
That's if they don't start an illegal war that disrupts the total global supply chain.
Certainly have a difficult time lowering it. But as we can see by real example, they can certainly raise it.
Yes. if you start World War III, everything we just told you changes.
And, Iran has been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah, they
Any
haven't
oil that
not
could
thought
traverse in
about
the
this
Red Sea to
scenario.
bypass the Strait of Hormuz, could very well, they could then make the call to the Houthis to basically start bombing that there.
Iran,
We're talking about taking Karg Island. Well, the Strait of Hormuz is 300 miles south of Karg Island. So they're still going to control the Strait of Hormuz.
Not only that, right now, so like I just want to make sure like we don't go too fast or gloss over anything for our beloved listeners. Think about this for a second. So right now, Iran is mostly getting its oil out, right? So the people that normally buy Iranian oil, which is primarily like the biggest are India, China, and a bunch of other Asian countries, a whole bunch of them. Turkey buys some, but so almost none of it, virtually none of it comes to the U.S.
Right.
The U.S. consumes almost zero Middle Eastern oil. And so that shows you how, how voluntary or how capricious this war was. Like there's no argument about energy security because it wasn't any of our energy to begin with. So that don't even listen to that argument. But here's the kicker. Okay, so they take Karg Island. Karg Island becomes a dead asset. No more oil. Either way, either they destroy it by trying to take it, or Iran decides to destroy it if they're losing it. And even then, it only gets the oil that Iran pumps to it. Spigot gets turned off. So all that oil comes off the market. The reason our gas, even though we don't buy oil from the United States, the reason those prices have gone way up around the world, everywhere, nobody's immune to this, is because it's a global commodity market. And so you take X amount of supply off, the price goes up everywhere. That makes the problem even worse, which is why a lot of economic experts are now predicting that this produces durable inflation. So long-term baked in inflation, like prices. I mean, yes, gas prices and oil prices can over time fluctuate.
That's right.
But basically this is creating a one-time, but it's staying there spike in the cost. And, maybe it changes over time, but historically, unless you go into some huge recession, prices don't ever really come down.
Well, I mean, even if you have some kind of effort, military effort, maybe we put boots on the ground, we start wiping out portions, you're still not going to get anyone to insure any kind of cargo going through.
There's no quick
and
turnaround on this from any.
Without that, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, to assume that we go to some magical agreement to end hostilities to abundant, cheap oil flowing around the world is a fantasy. Like, even just like literally, if our maniac, sundowner, criminal scumbag of a president decided to end the war tomorrow, and the Iranians, who now have all the leverage, were to suddenly agree to stop fighting, even then, everything is going to take a long time because the oil production has either been slowed or halted. Many wells have gone idle. Facilities have gone idle. You don't start this stuff back up overnight. A lot of the inflationary pressures, the disruption, the risk, the whole formula has changed. And they may don't pay attention to the short-term fluctuation in the prices because they move, in my opinion, come kind of irrationally because they'll react first of all, why would you react like when Trump tells you an obvious lie that we're winning this war and we could end it at any time, and I may end it tomorrow if I decide to, but I also may bomb the fuck out of them, and I don't know. Like at some point, he's going to be like, and I may, I may go nuclear on them. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows what the fuck this crazy decrepit fuck will do? But all that speaks to the market is risk, uncertainty, you name it. So like, I agree, like this trajectory is going to just continue to cost us. And then something else I wanted to throw into the mix, Tom, is we're not just throwing money at someone that we started a surprise war with, an unauthorized, unconstitutional surprise war for no reason. There was no threat from Iran. When I say no threat, yes, Iran is a threatening nation, but there was no imminent threat. Like
No.
where Iran was, they were not pushing for a nuclear
Right.
device. They were not really all that active. They just had their asses kicked, both in their country. Their proxies had taken severe damage. They were on their back foot trying to regroup. And so they were not in a forward position at this time. So like anything to the contrary is a lie. But they're also not the only enemy that we decided to just give billions of dollars to. There's an enemy, at least they used to be our enemy before they compromised our president and many GOP politicians, because I believe in Occam's razor, man. Like, you look at something and you get, 3-4 factors that point in the direction, and this whole argument makes sense. And it's really pretty straight. Well, it's almost certainly true. All
And we
right.
waived the
So
sanctions on Russia.
yeah, just watched. Yeah, exactly. So Trump's a Putin bootlicker. He's compromised. And yeah, so Russia, we lifted sanctions on our, almost century old, now arch enemy, our most dire geopolitical foe. And we said, you can sell the oil that's on the water. And so so this is a big deal because oil was at 60. Russia, even if they were making money at 60, that's all the money they were making, and they've been starving. Their economy's a
That's
wreck.
correct.
Their war
Putin-
effort is
Putin was in a very weak place.
He was in an extremely weak place militarily and economically.
Exactly.
And now we are giving the enemy of our ally
Correct.
billions of dollars to now murder more Ukrainians, murder Ukrainian
Just when the Ukrainians were able to
children,
basically make ground.
rape
Yeah.
Ukrainian women.
They were making progress too.
And by the way, you're also not changing the price of oil. It's amazing. Well, I'm familiar with the few, I don't even want to call them economists, but I've listened to their bullshit for years, and they were the fringe of the fringe that networks brought on. They shouldn't have even platformed these idiots, but they brought on to bring another point of view. They
Right.
shouldn't be allowed to call themselves economists because they actually don't understand economics, but they also have all these sort of fringe beliefs. So you have morons, but that doesn't even matter, right? Because Trump's he's making all this, he's doing it. It's like whatever he wakes up and feels like, or somebody says something to him one day, and then the next day or something, and then this policy is that. But like, we know he's Russian's, boy. So it's not surprising that he decided to do this, but it's not going to lower the price at all. First
No.
of all, that oil already goes to market. So he hasn't changed the supply, but the price has gone up. So like, instead of making $60 per barrel, Putin, who's also a war criminal and a mass murderer, he gets another, 50, $60, all of those billions of dollars, and Russia can retool and reload.
And, as Trump said, at one point in the last few days that, hey, when the oil goes up, we're all going to make a lot of money, which leads me to tell you that, believe me, the petrochem industry is in no hurry to lower the prices back down. They are basically
in most cases, certainly the oil extraction side of the business is thrilled. I'm not kidding you.
Sure.
Those, I don't want to talk too much about the oil companies because I hate them so much, but I know a little bit about them and I paid a little bit of attention to their executive pay and stuff like that. Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, all those executives are literally, they have pools of
Their
cash
stock,
that they are now swimming
just
in.
Google their graph on their stock and how it's performing now. Just
Right.
Google it.
It's disgusting. So,
Yeah.
and these are not people that ever don't make money. I'm just saying they're we have just given them the gift of, and maybe, just maybe, even though Trump is a fucking impulsive, psychopathic, crazy person with dementia, occasionally, I don't know, he has some like kind of mob boss like sense for where the vig is and like who he can get a cut from.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if
Yeah.
there were oil executives whispering in your ear,
Right.
if you took a big shit on the Middle
Yeah.
East, it'd all make a lot of money. And if
Yeah.
you think that is Trump's
Well,
language. That's his life. That's his modus operandi. He's a con man. And he sees this as, I can't argue from a
I mean,
con man perspective, it's a great play.
the very thing when he basically announced on his Truth Social platform that he was going to do a cessation of bombing. He wasn't going to bomb any more energy sites, just, whatever tactical targets that he had. Well, at 6 o'clock in the morning, there was like $1.5 billion futures trades made immediately, like a spike. Well, that would only happen if someone had some kind of insider information.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you can bet everyone that's linked to Trump made a lot of money knowing that Trump was going to go on very shortly and announce this pause, if you will. It's just, the corruption is just, it's beyond description. Words will fail you, the level of corruption that's going on here.
Yeah, I agree. And as time goes on and the so-called book gets written and all of the information, like disgusting stuff that's obvious and in front of our noses that we're trying to
Yeah.
call out to you, that is the tip of the iceberg. Is the stuff that we don't know about yet. It is way worse than what you think. So the public is being built, because I'll say this: Trump is a fucking moron. I think I'm on the record as saying essentially that. And I repeat it frequently. I'm not going to shy away from that. But he does have people around him that are not completely gibbering morons. They're the worst of the worst. They have no character. They have no soul. You look at Ted Cruz, you might think this is a man who eats babies. They're really bad people. They're making money hand over fist. I mean, they know how to game the market. They are crooks. So if you give them the opportunity to use inside information to make hundreds of millions of dollars, that's where we are right now. And I suspect, given their greediness, it's actually the real number is already way in the billions. We don't even know what the fuck Trump is doing from the supposed oil that he's extorted from Venezuela. But like, this is the con, folks. That's what this is. This war was a whim. It may have had illegal financial intent. It was illegal in the way that it was started and that it's being prosecuted. It's, there's also probably a political calculation to it, because Trump's popularity has been plummeting anyway.
That's right.
Like this is just probably somewhat of a distraction and something I'm pretty sure he's wanted to bomb Iran for maybe 20 years. So like this is,
He's been talking about it. Why don't
yeah.
you
So this is,
we just cue up that clip. I've already kind of spilled the beans on this one, but the clip of him basically saying,
we'll play the clip, and it's pretty obvious why we're playing it, but we'll give you just our thoughts here. Okay, so we're ready to kind of move into the final segment. This is the third leg of the stool that we were referencing earlier. And it's kind of a, I don't know, good news, bad news story. I'll give you the bad news first so that we can end with a little bit of good news. So we are facing the most monumental level of anti-democratic, authoritarian fuckery. There's just no other word that we know is coming our way before November. And not because Tom and I are incredibly brilliant, though.
You just dropped.
Me.
At the headline, or I was going off on it?
You're going off on it.
All right. So, I'm going to go through that. We've got a list for you. And Tom, if you have some thoughts on it, feel free to interject. But I'm just going to try to give you an idea of this is the takeover, the core of it. This is how, like, even though Democrats are performing amazingly, and we're going to get to that in a second, that's the good news. But this is what they're trying to do to hijack the entire country, never give up power, and illegally seize control of the government. Just want to make sure the stakes are clear. So this is the pipeline. The first thing Tom and I already went through. Tom has been looking at this for several days now, but it's the Watson versus RNC ruling. We expect that terrible decision. If the worst comes to pass, that we expect that they're going to decide this way. It's going to kill the grace periods in 14 states. And I won't belabor that point. Here's something we haven't talked about tonight: the Save America Act. That is not going to get into the details, but it's an incredibly burdensome and expensive and unrealistic and unprecedented documentary requirement, proof of citizenship to register. Most Americans don't even have a passport right now.
Right.
So like this would disenfranchise an estimated, according to the Brennan Center, 21 million eligible voters if they pass this bill.
It's being sold as a voter ID law.
Yeah, that's a
which
lie.
It is not. That is a lie.
It's a voter suppression and disenfranchisement.
In other words, to get any of these documents that you would need to have in order to prove your citizenship, it's going to cost money. That's a poll tax. It's unconstitutional. And so absolutely something that we shouldn't even be talking about. The thing is, I don't think it'll stand up in court, but it will create so much confusion that it will stymie any kind of path to a fair election. Not only that, what's not talked about is the burden it will place at the registration level. Simply just don't have the resources for.
No, it's expensive. Passports are like $150 or thereabouts.
Yep.
Some people can't afford those. And it's not an easy process. It's a time-consuming process. It will make people not vote.
Correct.
It's just,
that's what they're counting on.
It is. Tom said it. It's unconstitutional as on a poll tax basis. There's a whole lot that is wrong with it. It will disenfranchise a ton of women. Your
women.
Name on your ID, like there's a mismatch. Like most women who are married, are using a different name that's not going to, like, this has to line up with your birth certificate. Like
Correct.
This is intended to do exactly what I'm saying, disenfranchise over 20 million voters. So that's where it is. It's stalled in the Senate right now. So hopefully it just doesn't ever go anywhere, but they're trying. So it's on the list, and it would be devastating. And I don't even know if it's more devastating to Democrats. It's just like 20 million people.
There is some argument that it could very well
be
a problem for the Republicans as well.
If they're trying to do it, it's because it favors Democrats in the sense that that's like all these are just different voter preferences of how and when they vote and all that. And this isn't. First of all, I'm going to make the point real quick. I know we're taking a lot of time. This is important stuff. I just want to say that we're talking about decades of precedent, and we're talking about the fact that what they're saying, the reason for this is because they're lying absolutely deliberately. Like, no, this is all bullshit. This is not stuff they believe. They're just trying to meddle with the election. But they are trying to target certain voters on purpose because they know that the more they can suppress the vote, the more chance they have, to pull this off at a time when they need they're pulling everything out. So we'll see where it goes. I agree with Tom. If it does pass, it'll face a lot of legal scrutiny. But I don't take that. Hey, man, this Supreme Court, I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. So we'll see.
No.
Hopefully not. But that would be devastating to democracy at a bare minimum to have that many people.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And then, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, if we want to talk about what's lending to their desperation is that in the Florida state house election in Trump's very own district in Florida, they flipped it from red to blue.
Tom, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give you a demerit because we're not done with the fuckery yet. You're going to good news. We're not ready. We're not ready.
Okay, so
I'm just saying. No, I'm joking with you.
But process has thrown me off. It's absolutely.
I know, but okay. Let me just tell you all the fuckery.
The gentle listeners a chance here. The gentle viewers.
So yes,
give them a breath.
There's a little bit of hope, but we're not ready to acknowledge that yet because they're doing even more. And I'll try to be quick. All right, we already talked about the fact they're gonna absolutely mess with the U.S. Postal Service. We know that. So they're gonna mess with people there and disqualify their votes there. They're also, we've seen in the news and it's documented. We'll probably do dedicated episodes on this. And we have a clip. We're gonna hit on this one in a minute. We're gonna play you Steve Bannon, but Steve Bannon's been talking about ICE at polling places. That's where they're headed. They know from the data, they know that their presence scares the shit out of people that are brown and maybe have an accent, even if they're here legally, and even if they're citizens and have the right to vote. Trust me, this is an effort to intimidate anyone. Like, these are masked, unidentified men holding machine guns and other weaponry and looking like militia because they won't wear uniforms. They wear whatever the fuck they want to wear. So they who knows who the hell they are. Well, they're going to be standing in front of election poll locations if we don't stop them. So we'll get to that in a minute. But I'm just going to hit this list. We'll follow up with the Bannon video because it's really relevant and it's proof that what I'm saying and what Tom is saying, that's what they're trying to do. The other thing they're going to do, number 6, voter roll purges. So ongoing, you want to know why the Justice Department has been illegally trying to obtain and magically work with polling data from individual states. In some cases, they threaten them, like Minnesota. They said, hey, you want us, you think you like having ICE in your city?
Yeah, how about giving us a voter rolls?
Yeah, we want the voter rolls. Maybe we go away for a little while. We'll be back, but that's the game they've been playing. They're trying to get the voter, like the absolutely sacrosanct data on every voter in every state that they can. Like literally all 50 if they can or could. But anytime they have some leverage, whether it's like withholding money, they're constantly doing this, trying to get it because they want to systematically purge, kick people off of those rolls based on all the data that they've been given and figuring out who might vote Democrat. And believe me, with that data, they can do this pretty surgically. Like this is a big deal. Again, it will be litigated, but they're pulling out all the stops. And then the last thing on the list before we get to the clip and we talk about a few the good news is they have, and this is something I actually wasn't aware of until we did a little research for the show. So this is a new one to me, is they're also gutting security for elections, the funding that is. So both in terms of, we have a DHS shutdown right now that's already affected, and they've already taken out like any of the foreign interference funding to like see if Russia's messing with our election or China or any of that. Like they're opening the door potentially to encouraging foreign interference or other friendly security breaches. So this is not just some also like this is full on. This is how the countries that become authoritarian, this is what they do. So they're again, I know, you know, the good guys have some very talented, very winning and successful lawyers, but like this is what we've never seen this in this country. So I'm going to stop trying to make everybody feel bad, and we are going to go to the Bannon clip, just like I promised, but you need to hear it from the devil's own mouth, right? And so this is not John Bell and Tom Hoyer pulling your chain. All right. Here we go. And here's Steve Bannon himself as promised. This guy's
Again,
actually a
public
really
preparation.
sharp
How
lawyer
much can we get the
making these
public
comments.
normalized?
All right. So anyway, won't play the whole video for you, but the point here is that you heard it from Steve Bannon's mouth himself that the reason ICE is at the airports right now, it's not to be helpful. It's not for any other reason that they're just practicing deploying them to different locations where they're not supposed to be.
That's right.
And they don't have any training other than harassing any immigrants or immigrant looking people, brown. You speak Spanish and you happen
That's
to be
right.
going through a U.S. airport and doing nothing wrong.
That's
They
right.
just may tackle you. They may harass you. They may
That's
throw
right.
you into detention. So,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, ICE, again, ICE doesn't even really have to be close to the polling place. They can do things like close down parking lots. They can block intersections. They can turn
Right.
off traffic signals, anything in the specific polling areas that they want to impact. I mean,
and all of that, like that, and I,
what if you
I
have
just
to walk over a mile to
Yeah.
get to your polling place? I
And they
mean,
don't,
this is the
like,
kind of thing they can do.
yeah, and they don't need to be anywhere near election locations. In fact, honestly, give them a fucking holiday. Say, go home. Spend time with your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your dog, whatever, but stay the fuck out of our elections. They're a bunch of thugs. They're untrained, and it is unconstitutional, illegal election interference. It's intended. Here's the nicest take you have on it. Like, here's the most optimistic thing. They're there to intimidate and impede.
That's exactly
They
it.
may go beyond that. Like, who knows? They may target people at the polling locations to arrest without probable cause
Correct.
and without any warrant, without any legitimate constitutional
That's right.
basis, because guess what? They do that every
And
day. They're
they're
doing it
immune. That's right.
everywhere. They
They're
are
immune.
lawless.
Yeah. And, again, so what happens if word gets out, they're just basically breaking people's windows, pulling them out because they look
All right.
Hispanic, for example, or they
Yeah.
look like,
Anyone.
any target, they're Haitian. And then, what's that going to do to
Anyone that
people? Are going to
doesn't
be
like the look of
I don't want to have anything to
masked
do with
armed
that.
men.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what's going to happen. So people, I would say, what are we going to do? I would say that we're going to have to basically take them up on their compromise, and we're going to have to vote as early as possible. I know it's a burden.
Yes.
I know it's a pain, but you're going to have to make plans. You're going to have to make sure that you're going to do everything to insulate yourself.
Yeah.
I do believe that if you live in an area where you have, a blue dot, then you're going to need to basically make sure you make plans to get your vote in as early as possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the safest thing. That's like the biggest, and it's not a huge ask. So that's the biggest thing you can do on this thing for democracy. And all right. So I know, like, we hit you with a lot of stuff. It's really scary. I'm scared. I'm pretty sure Tom's scared. We're definitely also outraged, but let's, we got to keep hope alive. So let's move to a little bit of the good stuff. And here's where things are turning. And this is why they're going to all these extremes. Okay. And not to put too fine a point on it, but Mr. Trump's in the shitter. MAGA's taking it with him. Like they are inextricably intertwined and linked. And that's been, that has hurt the country and it's betrayed the country. But it's also not everybody, many people, as Trump likes to say, they are turning against him. Okay. So his popularity is cratering. Along
Correct.
with it, MAGA's, they're inseparable. So these numbers are maybe not technically poll for the GOP or the Republican Party, but they're pretty much the same right now. Okay. He's not on the ballot, but he is on the ballot, right? You know what I mean? Like he's not officially running for anything.
No, but yeah.
But this is a referendum on Trump. It's the way it always is for any president in the midterm.
In the midterms.
And this is not a normal, let's be clear. I'm not saying, this is normal. There's nothing normal about this. All right. But okay, that usually happens. Well, John, you say, how far down is he? Well, I'll get into the numbers here briefly. We won't belabor it, but he's down across the board. He's down everywhere. He's down his just job approval numbers. And this is across multiple polls. This isn't just me cherry picking Reuters, Ipsos, or Fox or whatever. And this is like literally, I just said Fox. Fox actually has a good polling operation. They're firewalled and they do their thing. So they're pretty much just flat out legit. So I will admit that. They have Trump, like all these polls have Trump at the lowest levels they've ever had him. And most of the experts are saying we're not done yet. Like this is as we go. The war is becoming more and more unpopular, as it should. It's like one of the only wars I can remember or that I have studied or looked at that started out as underwater in terms of popularity. Like this one was a stinker and nobody's behind it from the get-go because the only people it's benefiting are the billionaires and Trump trying to distract people and serve his own ego and who knows what else. We'll figure that out. But anyway, so the numbers themselves, 30 overall, 36% down in Reuters Ipsos. During, with the war and the gas price hike. Quinnipiac, March 9th, 37% approve, 57% disapprove. Approval on the economy, only 29% in Reuters Ipsos approve, is all-time low and worse than Biden's ever than his worst number. Cost of living net approval cratered from minus 31 before the war. So let's be clear. People hated him before this. This is just on top. This is getting worse and worse. So minus 31 before the war to minus 41 now. Just the worst presidential numbers in history, bar none. Like I'm excited. I'm very excited today. This is not hyperbole. It's like I'm telling you the sources here, right? And whose polls these are. Iran war approval, 35% as of March 24, down from 37% the previous week. 59% of America say that U.S. military action has gone too far. 46% say the war will make the U.S. less safe. And it just goes on. It's across the board. And there's actually a little bit of erosion even in the Republican base. We've been almost, it's like almost a cult saying that, Trump's base is with him. They're impervious to anything, to be with him to the very end, except that's not really true. I'm not saying like everybody's jumping off the ship, but it's starting. 42% of Republicans say that they're likely to oppose the mission if U.S. troops are killed. 34% of Republicans say rising gas prices would make them more likely to oppose the war. 46% of Republicans trust Trump moderately or less on the use of force decisions. Like these are mediocre polls, but Trump is used to getting 80, 90, almost sometimes like close to 100% support across most of the Republican base. So there are cracks in the armor, and they're at a bare minimum. They are not excited. They're not happy. They might not hate Trump, but I'm not saying like that voter is suddenly going to turn into a Gavin Newsom voter.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are going to stay home, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's that in all likelihood is probably what will happen, which I am absolutely fine with, because I can,
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah. I mean, the Democrats and the 36%, as we grab into that, are going to show
I hope that, Tom, I don't want to be too crude, but I hope they go into their fucking outhouse and shit themselves. Okay? I don't care what Cletus and his inbred family do. I'm happy if they stay home. Yeah, like anything we can get. But like, look, all I'm saying is this is early from a midterm perspective, but enthusiasm wise, and we'll do maybe a whole segment that dives deeper into where like the electorate is, but right now it certainly seems, and we're about to go into this last little bit of the show tonight, which is talking about how Democrats are actually performing. So to kind of translate all of this into, well, what does that really mean? You said that it's unpopular. It's great. You threw a bunch of numbers out, blah, blah, blah. What does that really mean? Well, what that means is since Trump has become president, all of the special elections, no, not all of the special elections, but all of the flips, everything that's gone from one party to another has gone the Democrats' way. Not 90%, not 80%,
all of them,
100% have gone to the Democrats, and that's 30 state legislative races.
Yep, you are
across
correct,
different
sir.
states. And also, here's another data point. I'm not talking about a bunch of blue states. We flipped seats in Arkansas, New Hampshire, Texas,
right?
Where we won a state Senate district Trump carried by 17 points, folks.
Right.
If that doesn't make you happy, because let me tell you, those are the numbers, like not every single race. But if you look across all of this, a lot of other elections that happened too. This is just one chunk of it. But the number, the swing from 2024, from the last election to what's been happening so far. You had off-year elections last November. It was amazing, like unbelievable performance by the Democrats. It was just what you dream for, right? We kicked ass. Every special election, the generic, basically the poll that doesn't pick a candidate is called the generic congressional poll, and it is, I think, up to plus 10 Democrats. It's definitely in double digits now. And the real world performance is even higher. It's 12, 14, maybe even 15 points. Is getting to the point where even Republicans, even in districts that were R plus 17, which means the last election, whoever ran as the Republican won by 17 points. Those up to that level right now is competitive. Those Republicans aren't safe. Those numbers aren't just strong. Those are typically unheard of. So it is really looking ugly for them, Tom. Just all kinds. Just here, I'm temporarily here in Florida, and we're gonna get into like the sort of delicious highlight of well, let me just go right into that. Right. So just in the last few days, a Democrat, Emily Gregory, defeated the Trump-endorsed Republican, John Maples, in Trump's own district, the one where he hypocritically voted by mail. It came to nothing because he's a fucking idiot, right? And like I'm saying, people hate him, all right? So he won that district. Trump won that district in 2024 by 11 points. She won by 2.4. That's 13.4% swing. And that's pretty typical, if not on the low end of everything that we're seeing. They flipped another seat here in Tampa where I am that was previously Republican. They're seeing pretty much, even as of 2024, I'm like, oh man, Florida is a red state for all intents and purposes, and we can't do crap down here. Not right now. Not right now. I don't care whether you're in Iowa, Arkansas, New Hampshire, Texas, like all these, it's across the board where Republicans are just amazing, atrociously underperforming the election. So like that's the good news. The good news is that America is saying fuck no to all of this. So anyway, that's my take on it. Tom, what do you think? I think
Well,
it's
I
great
do.
news. I think it's embarrassing to Trump, but it's also like it's just another data point.
I think, I think it goes back to something that I've touched on before, is that basically you're talking about when it was 31 for Harris, 32 for Trump, 36% just set it out. Well, with these swings, these dramatic swings we're seeing in a lot of these elections, the simple truth of the matter is that, yes, the Democrats are voting. Yes, some of that 36 is coming over, but it would not have happened the way it's gone down without Republicans flipping over. So that should be the biggest worry that they feel, and certainly they do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And it's it's a good news, bad news story that like everybody's got to stand tall. Everybody, you got to vote no matter what, you just got to get out there and vote. We're trying to spread the word. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of resources and what people need to do. All right. So as promised, here we have Chris Hayes. He's an MS Now anchor, guy that I actually like. I will tell you what I really think about mainstream media, but he's a smart guy. He's a solid anchor. This is him discussing what we were just talking about at Mar-a-Lago.
She says he
Hypocrite.
hates voting by mail. Also encouraged, quote, great
Sounds
patriots in the
like
district to vote for Maples.
a powerless, lame duck, stupid, dementia-addled, dying. I think he's dying. Let me just I told you I'm not holding back anymore. I'm going to be honest. I think Donald Trump's dying. And I'll let you guess about whether I'm sad about that. But like he's decrepit physically, he's rotten morally and ethically. He's a thief. He's stealing all of our tax money right now. But he's also pretty much reviled. Like he's lost everybody. And this is just another one. This is his own. This is not his backyard. This is his home. This is the Mar-a-Lago district in Florida, where he's kind of like he's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of, this is like if he's getting his ass kicked in his own district in Florida, I don't care like whether you're a lifelong political analyst or not. You don't have to be to see that spells trouble. So, couldn't happen to a worse authoritarian fascist cult. So, I told you we were going to be upbeat. And the good news is even if they cheat some, as long as we can't keep them from doing all of this, we probably still win. It means that we, Tom mentioned to me before the show, 50% chance that right now in the betting markets, they're calling it 50-50 if the Democrats win the Senate. Like, this is
Yeah.
7 months out. And I told you,
Yeah.
it's getting worse. Like, the Republicans, like everything. I'm not saying I have a bunch of insider information, but the sources I pay attention to are starting, like, they're saying Republicans are starting to openly talk about how they're going to lose the Senate.
Yeah.
So they see it. Not making a prediction yet because that's a tall order. But man, like, this is at least where we would want to be if they weren't a bunch of neo-Nazi thugs and con men. But listen, we got to wrap it up. I want to say this. We're going to repeat real quick what we would like for you to do, what we advise for you to do, if you will, to all of our wonderful democratic, republic-loving listeners. One thing you can do right now, contact your representative or your senator and tell them, hell no on Watson versus RNC. You need to do something. Number two, if you're in one of the 14 grace period states that we were talking about, you got to know your state's rules now and before they change in July. And what that means, we will stay here. Come back to us, watch us. We're going to give you all of that information so that you have that and can make sure your vote counts and they can't steal it from you. The last thing that we want to talk about, please, we wouldn't be here if you weren't watching our videos. So first of all, we want to thank you for that. But also understand, we don't take corporate money. We don't have a bunch of investors. We're not, I mean, I have a little bit of a political science and economics background, but that's not the work I've been doing for a long time. Like, we're not, we're outsiders. We're corporate guys, not doing anything bad or nefarious, just doing deals. And we couldn't stand what was happening to the country, and we're not going to put up with it. And we wanted to help make a difference. So that's why we're doing this. And we can use your support. So
Please.
we're here on YouTube. We're also on particular, we're on Substack. So you can find us there, eattheoligarchy.substack.com, or just search for, for the reset. We're there, and we have founding memberships that are available. Those help us out a lot because it shows your confidence in us. It tells everybody, that we're bringing value, and it lets us invest more in the service. It gives you, there's a lot of extra benefits, like we have quarterly calls with our founding members for you to give us input. It's going to be really cool. You get extra content, you get access to content, full access that you can't get anywhere else from us. We're giving you detailed briefings, deep dives into all of the subjects that we talk about here for included. We're going to be giving you bonus episodes and things like that. If you can't swing that, we totally get it. There's monthly memberships, but that would mean the world to us. Visit us there. Give us a little help. We're building this channel. It's part of a challenger media ecosystem that needs, we need this. We need this for liberal democracy. They're buying out corporate media right and left. This is MAGA billionaires. They're buying it all up. So, like, people like us, other great podcasters are doing the same. But if you're listening to us and you can give us a little help. Also on this, if you're watching us on YouTube or any of the podcast platforms, hit like, subscribe. We do our free content as well. And want to thank everybody for listening and the support that we've received so far. Tom,
That's right.
you want to?
And don't forget, no kings on Saturday. So find your
Thank
local
you.
organization and please participate if possible.
Yes, I'm going to double down on that. We're going to go an extra 15 seconds because please, like I've been to all of them. They are fun. They are affirming. You see funny ass signs like you wouldn't believe, like they are freaking hilarious. We're going to take some footage. We'll be putting footage into some of our next videos, but they also matter. They make a difference. They're showing everybody, number one, we're not alone and we're the majority. Number two, it's proven time and time again that peaceful mass protest works in democracies and it helps to save our democracy. So please, if you're already going, great. Just call one extra friend, get another person there. Just like go. It's a lot of fun. And we all got to do something, man. We're all going to go crazy and stick our heads in ovens if we don't like if you don't feel empowered to do something. So thank you, Tom, for remembering to bring that up. I just had to say that again because it is a big event.
It's
You
a
won't be
groovy
sorry.
vibe, so be there. It's really a good feeling.
It is. It's good people from all across, like
It is.
old, young, independent,
right.
liberal,
Yeah.
progressive, whatever. There's a lot of people and they're all kinds of fun, get ups and signs and you name it. Like people are into this because you know what? We all of us deserve to live in a vibrant democracy. That's what we deserve as human beings. And it doesn't come easily. Sometimes we have to fight for it. So we're going to have to fight to keep this one. And this is just something that does, it's just a day in the park, another day in the park. And it's a lot of fun. And so I'll stop talking, but thank you. Thanks for listening. And we appreciate all the support. Stay safe and we will see you Saturday and you will see content from there. Bye.
Adios.